record on this. Okay, everybody, welcome back to Chat with the Hat podcast. Okay, this is the Townsville wrap-up. I'm Dave, and Rowan is back again, fighting fit and ready for another Origin loss. How you going, Rowan?
Yeah, good mate. Good to be back again, and yeah, looking forward to watching New South Wales go 3-0 down in the series tonight. So I've just resided to it now, so I may as well just accept the fact it's coming.
Exactly right. Typical New South Wales supporter. They crawl out from under the fridge, lose, and then they scuttle all the way back and start barracking for Queensland.
Like that'll never happen. As shit as will be, I'll never go for those filthy bastards.
There's nothing you can do about it, mate. We own your souls. And tonight is Wednesday night. We are recording on Origin night. So we're going to get through this really quickly because we've got parties to go to. We got places to
Straight
be.
we are.
We're going
We
to
got
scream
places
through
to
this
be
one.
and games to watch.
Yes, yes, we've got some footy on. So we'll get through this relatively quickly, I hope. Plenty to talk about after Townsville, which is way cool. On and off the track, and the rumour mill is also running hard and fast. So I'll start off with just a little bit of a rap from what's that garbage?
Figured if you're rapping, I may as well rap mine as well. So
Yeah, dude, yeah. I'm repping the Queensland jersey, mate. Like 100%.
Yeah.
We're in. Okay, so Townsville wrap up. So basically, I spent my entire time partying up there as I do, and hung out with a bunch of officials that I've become pretty close friends with since Darwin, the fishbowl kids, and uh, Shane Young. He's one of the sector marshals up there, senior official, been officialing for 20 years, so he knows everything about what's going on. Trust me. So I spent the week hanging out with them and Zane Morse's team, Zane Morse Racing from Super Twos. He's in Cam Waters' last year's Mustang. That's the car that he's zooming around in at the moment. And on the Sunday, they had a good result. They got a third place, his first third place trophy sitting on the table when we're all having knockoffs after the Sunday weekend. So that was a good mood. Team 18 were also in the pub having their knockoff as well, and met a few of those guys, some of their crew, and all the DeWalt kids, and also this crazy chick from Scotland. She was mad. Um, Big highlight for my weekend was doing a hot lap this weekend. Thank you very much to one of our Erebus Army members, Jacob Lee Boots, who won a couple of hot laps in a competition for tradie, and they sponsored Declan Fraser's car in Tickford. But Jacob couldn't make it to Townsville, so he kindly offered them to me and one of my mates. So we went zooming around the track with Declan on the Friday afternoon, which was mental. Bro, have you done
Nice.
one of those yet? You done a whole lap?
Not in an actual V8 supercar. I've done some laps in a race tuned VZ a long time ago back at Phillip Island Raceway. I actually got to do a couple of laps in it myself, which that was a whole lot of fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've never actually been in a proper V8 supercar. No.
Well, I've been lucky enough over the last few years to have done a few. And obviously, this is the first time I've been in a Gen 3 car, first time I've sat in one, and nothing like the Gen 2 cars, 100% inside that cabin, worlds apart. Firstly, visibility out of these cars is terrible. It's absolutely shocking. It looks like you're looking out of a letterbox at that front windscreen. He's bugger all. Now they've got the big black strip across the top as well for the names, and that's
Yeah.
even reduces down.
Well, the windscreen itself's about a foot shorter than the old ones in
Yeah,
the
yeah. The
Mustangs
fit,
and the VZ, so or
yeah,
ZBs, whatever they were.
yep. And also they've changed the specs for people to be eligible to get in. They've dropped your body weight. You have to be, you think, less than 90 kilos now, and um, you can't be taller than 6 foot, because literally getting in the bar work from the passenger side, the bar work, the hole to get into the car is
Yeah.
so much more constricted, and you need to be doing some pretty nifty gymnastics to scrunch yourself into the side of that car in
Yeah,
these
yeah,
Gen 3.
imagine.
So tall, so the big and tall guys aren't really going to fit. It's just a fact. So
How's GT going to go at Bathurst? And he's a pretty lanky dude, so
Oh, he's going to have to fold himself up into 3 different directions, like a lawn chair. He's going to be one of those, like those big banana lounges where they just fold him in both ends at once,
Yeah.
slide him in and open him out again.
I'm looking forward to that.
So after we zoomed around the track for a bit, and Declan was having some fun with me on the last lap because I was the last dude of the day to go through. So those tyres weren't getting used. There was no one else waiting. So we were just chucking some skids, coming back into the pit lane, just doing some fishies. After we did that lap, I asked him about the aero tweaks that they were given and had it made any difference to his rear tyre life and the handling on the car. And he looked me in the eye and he went, nah,
Yeah.
nope, made no difference whatsoever. Our tyres in practice on Friday, the rear lefts were still blistering after 12 laps. And I'm going,
Yeah.
yeah, but you got 3 30-lap stints. He goes, yeah, I know. We're stuffed.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to last a 30-lap stint when they're already starting to fade and wear out, blistering up around 12 to 15 laps. The race is going to be cactus, which it was. And we saw that. We'll get to that, but we did see the
Yeah.
effect there. There wasn't any benefit there. One thing Townsville did really well, they did a drone show. They had 500 drones with LEDs pumping on them all in a big swarm at night. And that looked massively cool. They did some very, very cool displays with those
Yeah.
drones.
I mean, I can only imagine how good it looked in person because I watched the videos on Facebook and they were bloody impressive. So I can only imagine how impressive it was actually being there on and seeing it in the flesh.
Yeah, it was just cool. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people in Vivid in Sydney would have seen it as well because I think they did the drone
Yeah.
shows at Sydney over Vivid. So
Well,
that was,
it's the way of the future, mate. I think that fireworks are going to be on the air, given the.
no, always keeping
You,
fireworks, mate. I saw
you don't
Territory
reckon?
Day, mate. It's
Uh,
just I saw Darwin Territory Day. There were dudes like blowing themselves up. You can't
oh,
take
they
that
that
away from people.
I reckon they will at some point. And if these drone shows get as impressive as they are, I reckon that I really don't care. As
You can
much as
do
I love
both.
fireworks, those
Do
drone shows are
both.
bloody
You're
awesome.
such a fun police. Bloody Grinch, take the fireworks away. No way. Um, the grid walk on the Sunday was way cool. I got to hang out with some of the marshals on track, and then my phone blew up as everybody said, "I think I just saw you on telly." And yes, I even got a phone call from a mate from work who used to work with me 3 years ago, going, "Are you in Townsville?" I went, "Yeah." Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I think I just saw you on TV on the grid. I went, "Yeah, that'd be me." So
that's me. Yeah.
went up the back and had to play with the green flag. Wasn't allowed to wave it because that would be bad. Not allowed to wave the flag when there's 500 people milling around cars. It's not good. Um, Scooters are awesome. Scooters are the way of the future. They should be everywhere. We should not be restricting them back into the public suburb area. They should be allowed out of the CBD so we can actually get back to our houses on scooters. Which I did
That'd
manage
be
to do
awesome.
one night. For some reason, it wouldn't cut off after the GPS cutoff area. And I was 3 Ks out of the service area in the
Nice.
in the suburbs at my mate's house with my own personal scooter now that won't go anywhere. So
Loving it.
that was too cool. And then I just saw a news article yesterday about old mate up in Litchfield, up at the Wangi Falls, where I was at the Darwin round, went to go and have a swim, but they had it locked off because old Snappy Tom was floating around, but they couldn't find it. So they reopened it like a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. Everyone's gone down there for a swim. Snappy Tom's come up and taken a chunk out of old mate. And now they've shut the falls pool again because, yeah, the crocodile was just waiting.
He's
They're
there.
very
Yep.
patient.
Well, they are. They've been hanging around for 60 million years. I reckon they can hang around for a couple of months for someone to come along. So
Yeah, yeah. They don't need to eat every day. They just
no.
take a chunk every 6 months. They're good.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just been snooping around hanging and they couldn't find it for months and months and months. I figured it might have buggered off, but nope, found it.
He's there.
See, they didn't take their insurance policies. They didn't go to Red Rooster and buy their
Yeah.
$10 insurance tickets.
That's it. Throw your
Start
chicken in
lobbing in,
first.
start lobbing in some roast chooks and wait half an hour. If something hits it,
Yeah.
don't go in. All right, we suppose we should talk about some cars, eh, right?
Oh, I reckon. So yeah,
That was
Townsville
my week.
on the
That was my
weekend.
wrap up of Townsville. So basically, there's a whole bunch of partying, whole bunch of cars, whole bunch of like cool stuff to do. If you've never been to a Townsville race, the circuit's fantastic. Facilities are cool. Lots of cool viewing spots. Awesome weather. 28 degrees, 26 degrees every day. Blue skies. It was beautiful. So let's go talk about what happened on the track.
That's it. So good track. Had supercars, Aussie racing cars, Porsches, Super Twos, and Super Threes up there. So had a nice little bunch of cars up there, as as they generally do at the supercars races. But where do we start off? Just well, Aussie racing cars are Aussie racing cars. They're always fun. They're always entertaining. So nobody's gonna not like Aussie racing cars. Those things are just wicked.
I think for once,
And
everybody came home with their bonnet still on.
no, there was a couple that didn't. There
Oh,
was
was
a,
it?
there was a few. Yeah, there was a few.
Oh, I
So
might
no,
have
there
missed
was
that.
a
Yeah, because normally someone loses a bonnet and they don't care.
no one of them. Well, one of them lost more than the bonnet. His whole front end went disappeared after he got. They were can't remember who it was, but him and another driver had been biffing and barging for the first two races, and I think it was the race three when they biffed and barged a little bit too much, and he ended up head on into the tire barrier and ripped the front wheel off, and the whole front of the car was just gone. So he was a bit of a mess. Can't remember who it was, but it was a pretty big shunt. He walked away from it all good, but the
Mm.
car not so much. So no, you can't get through an Aussie racing car weekend without some sort of crazy action happening.
Oh, hell no.
Too many of them on the track. That's why we love them.
Yeah, there's like
Uh
35 cars or something, 30 cars.
yeah. Oh yeah, heaps of them. So the Super Twos, Super Threes will start off in qualifying with the absolute muppet move by Brad Vaughan wiping out Jack Perkins on the first on the qualifying race. So completely stuffed Jack's weekend and didn't even get to do a flying lap because the car was out, and for the rest of the weekend because he was taken out on his flying lap by once again another inexperienced driver deciding that it's a good idea to warm your tires up on a part of the track you shouldn't be warming your tires up, and taking out a guy that's on his hot lap and got nowhere to go. So so it's not it's happened in supercars as well, but it seems to happen a lot in the Super Two series. So it's an issue that's been brought up a million times, and I think you said it before we started filming. They've just got to make parts of the track where you're not allowed to do it. It's illegal, because that's a stupid part of the track to be doing it, and you got the result you were looking for
Yeah,
or expecting.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And the stupid thing is that annoyed me, and not just me, but I was talking to Image Racing afterwards, after like before the investigation, after the driver signing session, Terry was dragging Jack up to the steward's office for the post race or the post event accident investigation to work out who gets what penalties and stuff. Brad Vaughan got disqualified from qualifying, had to start the race from pit lane. That's all he copped.
yeah,
And he still drove through the field. He ended up mid pack by the end. I think he ended up in the top 10 of
yeah,
that race. He was like nothing wrong with his racing ability, just his awareness of uh,
yeah.
of what's happening and where he is was the worst decision that he's made so far in his short career. The but Jack's car doesn't help Jack, does it? There
No,
was that
he's
much
gone.
damage
So
there. They couldn't fix it with the stuff they had on track. They can't straighten the rails out up at the
no,
circuit. You're done. So put it back in the truck, and
yeah,
I can
weekend
tell you,
weekend over.
I can tell you,
What's that?
Perkins was
Have,
absolutely livid. He was
oh,
furious.
can
Sitting at that
imagine.
driver signing session, he's just talking with Jack, and he was just so pissed off. And so were we all. And Terry was the same. And I saw Baz walking over to the um, Super Two's pits. I was about to pop over and just say hi. And then I just saw him on a mission. I
Thought
went,
better of
hey,
it.
hell, oh, way, nope, nope. Hit that one into reverse, buddy. Nope, let Baz.
Yeah,
Baz is on a walk and he's going to have a talk. So, yeah, I'm not getting
walk
anywhere
away,
near that.
back away slowly.
Yeah, I'll leave that one to. I'll catch up with him like tomorrow
Yeah,
when he's cooled down a bit. Um, but other than that, Job Stewart came second in his Super Threes
yeah,
category behind Cam McLeod. He's fast. He's always been
yeah. He
fast.
is.
Job's always hunting McLeod. McLeod qualified third outright. against all
Yeah, I
the
saw that.
twos.
That's ridiculous. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous for a
and
Super
was
3 car.
racing them up
So
the front. Like that, they were all
yeah,
trying to bash him out the way because he's in a Super Threes car. Like he's in the
yeah,
Gen 4 car, Gen 1 car.
yeah,
Um, and they're trying to get him out of the way because all the twos want to race against the twos. They've got the last year's cars, right? The ZBs and the
yeah.
Mustangs. But McLeod still manages to extract some extraordinary speed out of that
Oh, stupid.
Super 3 car he's in and holds his own too and will fight tooth and nail. He was like he was looking for a legitimate podium, like an outright
Yeah,
podium as opposed to just a good quality pace.
Super
But
3 podium. Yeah. So
no,
no, it's
Super 2, like even on the
yeah.
twos,
No, I
like
mean
just
Super 2
outright.
podium as opposed to Super 3. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And like
So
he's gonna take the win on the Super Threes, but like just an
yeah,
outright race podium.
yeah, that'd be
Um
awesome. And Jetty Johnson got himself third for the round as well. So kudos to him. Third generation Johnson on track and already getting silverware. So
yeah, and the he was just zooming around. He took his NASCAR out for a squirt too, just on a
yeah, I
demonstration
saw
lap.
that. Yeah,
Just
took a
had the
couple of
track to
people out for
himself.
some laps. Yeah,
Basically just doing like a shootout on your own just for fun.
hell
Just
yeah.
having the track to yourself, just blasting around for 3 or 4 laps and then coming in. Like that's just cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
So
what else do we have?
Porsches, standard
Yeah,
Porsche, loud,
loud, fun. Well,
boring.
they sound fun. They're boring. Although they did give us a bit of entertainment on Sunday when they decided to turn it into a demolition derby race. So there was
That's the
a
only time they get exciting, is if they
yeah,
actually try to destroy $450,000 cars.
yeah, pretty much. So that did become. I actually was watching a Porsche race for the first time in years because I wasn't actually watching the race. I was watching the demolition derby that was a race, but it was entertaining. Do that more, guys. I'm happy. I don't care if you write off your $450,000 car. I'm not paying for it, it entertains me. So
Yeah, because the racing doesn't. That's what
yeah,
happens
yeah,
with a category
exactly.
race on a stock car when everyone's got the same kit.
Yeah, that's
Um,
it.
and they're just bloody loud. I don't
They
like them.
are.
Um, yeah, they're just too loud. They're just too goddamn loud. You're trying to have a conversation with your mates at the track and you can't. And because they fan out so much, there's no gap, there's no quiet spot because there's always
No.
back markers coming around 40 seconds behind the leaders.
Because you've got the pro and the pro am, so it is. Yeah, it's two
Yeah,
two races in the same car, so they're just the whole track's covered by them. So
pretty much. There's
yeah,
always noise somewhere. Um, all right, so let's move on down to the supercars, to the big boys.
the big boys, Willie
Big
Brown,
boys and their
Saturday.
toys. Everyone was so excited, so looking forward to getting this final parity situation put to bed. They got the new back end, they got the new aero tweak, and we're going to have some
Well,
competitive racing, and there we go.
and we had 6 Mustangs in the top 10 shootout on Saturday, but they were nowhere in the bloody race. So
Yep.
it's but the speed, their one lap speed's never been an issue. So it's just this issue they've got with being able to manage their tires and keep them going, which seems to be the problem. So it's still an issue, but we'll get into that in a moment. We'll give kudos to Willie Brown for the Super Saturday pole position and race win on Saturday. So well done, Will. Keeps himself in the championship lead. So yeah, it's close, but or did he get the championship lead? He got the championship lead on
Yes,
Saturday,
that
didn't
was
he? So
that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
night
So
because
yeah,
Brody's transaxle decided to
yeah,
just piss off first and second gear. Apparently, they're
yeah,
optional now; they're not required.
yeah.
So the sheer fact he could still handle that car around the track and finish in 19th, with only third gear as your lowest gear to pull out of the hairpin.
It's not too shabby. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and coming onto the main straight, like they dropped down to that's a 60k an hour corner too, turning left onto the
yeah.
main straight. So he's doing that in third. So
No, that was an impressive effort to get that car home and get a few points. But yeah, it gave the championship lead up to Willie Brown, who managed to go from pole to win. So that was an absolutely ripper race. He just done the old SVG thing and had a few slow out laps after his pit stops and managed those tires, and he just pulled away from him at the end of that race. So that was brilliant strategy by Erebus and Will Brown to just dominate that race and got himself the little orange numbers on the car. So well done, Willie.
Yep, absolutely. And Brady's tucked in nicely behind him for 7 points. And now, hot on our heels after the weekend's finished, we've got the two Triple Eight boys
Yeah, well,
sitting like
Feeney's
70,
only
70 points, 70 odd points behind us, Feeney and
no.
Shane.
I think after the weekend itself, Feeney's only 30 something points behind now. I think so.
I didn't think he
He's
was that close.
I think that was maybe that was Saturdays, but I know he's bloody close now. So we can if
But
you can
it's
quickly
us
look that up.
versus them
But
now. Yeah, it's
yeah,
legitimately us versus them at the moment.
yeah.
So,
So no, Erebus have
um,
definitely got a fight on their hands to keep that top spot. That's for sure.
yeah, absolutely. And and we're still cleaning up on the drive on the teams championship, which is actually really quite important because we're going to
Very much so.
steal
Yeah.
everybody's pit boxes up and down the lane. We're going to certainly jump
But
in DJR and we're going to jump Tickford.
I don't think we're finishing worse than second at the current pace. So
Well, at the current
yeah,
pace, I think we can still cover off Triple Eight. But if
yeah,
we end up not betting Triple Eight at the end of the year, we end up tucked in behind them. Hey, that's fine because there's like 6 cars behind us. So
that's it.
actually 8 because we got Grove. Grove jumped us this year. They jumped over us this year.
Yeah.
So in
So
the
that'll be
lane.
great.
So
It's going to be a massive step up for Erebus in the pit lane, highest up they'll ever been. So that's good stuff. It other than that, Saturday's race, it wasn't overly eventful. Saturday's race, I think there was a couple of DNFs. Anton DNF'd. I think it was a mechanical issue for Anton, which we'll get into more of that a little bit later when we get to Sunday. But yeah, other than that, it was a pretty smooth, clean race on Saturday. Everyone was well behaved and nobody was going too crazy. Other than was it was that the race that SVG was knocked off? Or was that the second race? No, that was the second race, wasn't it? Where SVG was
knocked off.
yeah, where he
When
was
he locked up
bumped
in
off at the
quali,
no,
locked up.
no, no, when he was bumped off in the race at the chicane. Was that race
Oh
one or
yeah,
race two?
yeah,
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 yeah. No, that was Sunday when he came
yeah. That was
together with
Sunday. Yeah,
Fraser
yeah,
on lap
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. That was Sunday. So, yeah, no. So Saturday was a pretty clean race. All being good boys, saving themselves for Saturday, which also was a pretty clean race, but saving themselves for Sunday. And where did we get? So Sunday was good because we got another good top 10 shootout. Bit of a mixed bag again. Erebus didn't make it onto the pole position, but I think the talk of Sunday though was the track conditions for the top 10 shootout. So that's something we didn't actually put in the notes here, Dave. But I don't know if did you. I don't know if you heard about this being at the
Oh
track, but
yeah, yeah, we heard about
yeah,
it. We're all
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about it.
So the pink rubber or drift rubber all over the track for the top 10 shootout caused an absolute chaos for everyone coming out onto an ice skating rink. So that was a pretty big deal. And Supercars, to their credit, did actually cancel the pre-race entertainment before the race because they did have them due to come out again. So they did cancel that pre-race entertainment just before the race was due to start, so they didn't have the
Yeah.
same issue with 25 cars, hitting a patch of drift rubber and all sliding off the track, because that would have just been carnage. So
Well, it was completely evidence when Will's water pump pulley failed and they got in quali, and
yeah, yeah,
the mechanics ended up in less than 8 minutes left of quali halfway through the session had to get the belt off and replace the pulley and put a new lock pin in the pulley.
that
So he had a water pump working on a red hot motor while they've got their hands down there trying to get these things off while they're blistering and burning their hands on the motor because it's red hot. And they
6 minutes.
got that done in 6 minutes
Yeah,
to get him out there, which got him
yeah,
into the shootout in P10, which meant he came out first in the shootout
yeah.
on all that blasted drift rubber everywhere that had just wiped off all the rubber from the previous sessions. And his time was 15.2. And we're looking at each other going, dude, he just did a 13 like 9 in quali or whatever it was. Now he's
It
doing a
was almost,
15.2.
it was close to 3 seconds slower than his fastest lap in the original quali. So
Correct. Because
that's
of all
just
this, because of all the
yeah,
surface had been destroyed with
yeah,
the burnouts. And as the session went along, the drivers coming out later in the shootout had a better run of it because the racing line had been swept by the cars
yeah.
preceding, and the times were more akin to what they should have been for the top 4 drivers, and the bottom 4 drivers were the guys out there just sacrificed to the
Yeah,
racing gods because of the drifting. So let's not do that again, eh? Yeah, that'll be
yeah.
fine. Thanks.
Lessons learned, I think. But yeah, that's, if you want to have the on track entertainment, maybe have it before some of the support races, not the supercars races. So
Yeah, we'll run the Porsches just before we do. We all love that Michelin
yeah,
rubber on there. It's the super sticky stuff. It's like
exactly.
THT. It's
That's it.
just
Yeah,
it's like drag racing grip. It's just like
put some
let the
super
Porsches
glue
loose
down on the
first.
track. Yeah, exactly.
100%. Run
Yeah.
them before the session, like before we do a shootout. Um, anyway, we'll move on. So the racing on Sunday's race was pretty damn cool. Like it was just good racing. I thought. I didn't
It
think there was
was.
anything wrong with it.
Well, yeah, and especially when you got SVG starting from 25th on the grid, you're going to get to see some passing. So,
Yeah.
that was that's always good. He unfortunately had a bit of bad luck in qualifying, didn't get the car set up right, and then stuffed up his last flying lap. So started from the back. So we all rubbed our hands together and went, "This will be fun," and it was.
And it was. And it was. And then it got really fun when he's tucked up behind Feeney in 5th spot and he's going, I've got better tyres, because he does, because the guy's a freak on keeping his tyres under him. And he goes,
Yeah,
let me have a go. I reckon I can get a hold of Heimgartner. So he passes Feeney, tries to chase down Heimgartner, but really didn't have any more. It wasn't making an impact on the back of
nah,
Heimgartner to get third, to get the podium. And then was being told, well, you got to give that spot back to Brock. You had to go. And he's
yeah,
going, what do you mean? I actually made a pass. He didn't let me pass. I actually made a pass. And I watched that and I went, oh no, Brock went wide for you, mate. Like
yeah,
he didn't make it hard. He let you come through on the inside. He didn't hide you off or fight you,
yeah,
because that was
exactly.
you were getting let through. And right on the line, he just basically chucks the anchors and almost comes to a dead stop just to let Brock take the 4th back, like hand the
Yeah,
spot back, and he's still cracked it. Like he's been cracking it with the car all week. He's been cracking it with the team. He can't wait to go to NASCAR, which we'll get into. And that was Feeney's spot. If
yeah,
they weren't going to hand it back to him, it's like, well, mate, we could have let you two fight each other and then blow your tires off again, and then whatever. With only 10 laps to go,
yeah.
whatever. But nah.
Well, it also gave Feeney the effective, not that it really matters or counts for anything these days, but it gave Feeney the effective round win on points for the weekend as well. So
Which everyone's talking about at the moment, because they made that
yeah,
as the justification for the rationale to hand the spot back to give Feeney the
yeah,
win. But there's no gain to have a round win anymore.
no, it's
15
just
years
a
ago, we haven't had a round winner for 15
it's a
years.
it's a pointless stat these days. It's an absolutely pointless stat, and I think that was just Triple Eight's way of being like, well, this is why we wanted to do it. But at the end of the day, if they had just said, well, look, we let him pass because he said he was going to have a crack, he didn't have a crack, so he moves
Yeah, we're
back
going to
again.
give you we're
That's
going to
it.
give you
Yeah,
an opportunity to hunt down the
yeah,
podium. If you can't get there, well, then you hand it back. But we're giving you
yeah,
an
exactly.
opportunity.
Yeah,
We reckon you're like the engineers are gone. Shane's faster. Release him.
yeah,
Chase down Andre. If you can't
yeah,
make it done, hand it back. Simple.
yeah.
If everybody knows all that, if that's all agreed upon on the radios to the drivers, well then happy days, no harm. But it seems
Straightforward.
to
Yeah,
be that Shane didn't realize that he was going to be handing it back.
yeah.
It wasn't
And
communicated well.
and look, at the end of the day, I think he has come out now and said, well, I'll do what's best for the team and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we all know he's not happy. He hasn't been happy all year with supercars, and or even since last year, really. So he's was
Oh, he's gone.
just he's done. He's done for sure. So if he wasn't before that, he is now. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
guarantee
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
he's been complaining about car handling problems all weekend. That's why he
yeah,
came into quali during a quali session and then just threw the car back and was waving his arms about and yelling at everybody, which is not
yeah,
really like him. But he's going, nah, it's shit, fix it.
yeah,
So they put him back out there and he's trying to chase and hunt time. And that's how he locked up his front wheel,
yeah,
because he was
exactly.
pushing too hard, because the front car isn't tracking properly. The front of the car's all over the crap. So he's not happy with it. So anyway, we won't be seeing Shane next year. I'll give you the tip.
It,
He's
it could be worse for him. He could be in a Mustang. So.
Yeah, then he'd be gone even quicker. So unless Triple Eight got some sort of deal going with Red Bull or sponsors that they get paid bonuses for getting round wins into
Yeah,
like amongst themselves, unless there's some sort of payback to turn that into a thing again, resurrect it as a bonus system,
then nothing.
then
Yeah,
using it as a reasoning was very odd at the circuit. Everyone's looking at each other going, who cares
yeah,
about the
exactly.
round win? Like, what's that all about? So it must be something important to them. No one else cares, but it's something within the team.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And look, before we do finish up on race 3 as well, we better give the kudos to young Anton for getting his first win.
Yep.
So, albeit it was due to him having a ton of absolute fresh rubber, but
And
that's the way the cookie
sacrificing
crumbles. And
Saturday.
yeah, so he sacrificed his Saturday with a DNF, but
No
got him
points.
no points whatsoever, but got himself all
150
the
points.
down the drain, gone. Yep, but got himself some fresh rubber, and I'm pretty sure he would. It's probably the best remedy you can get for a DNF is to come back the next day with your fresh rubber and get a race win. So put a W on the board and go with it. Get a trophy, go home happy.
Well, you still ain't going home with 150 points out of 300. So sure, you got a trophy, big deal. You had 4 sets of greens. Every
Well, he's
team
not. He's
got
not. Let's be honest. He's not in the championship race anyway, so I
nah.
don't think points are going to matter too much to him at the moment. So you just be stoked to get a race win at the moment, especially
Yeah,
in a Mustang.
yeah, exactly. So all the teams had 6 sets of greens for the weekend for racing.
Yeah,
There is 6 stints on a 2-stop strategy, three stints on each race. You blow out on Saturday and you keep a set of greens up your sleeve. You can do a 3-stop strategy on the Sunday, which is what a bunch of Mustangs were doing, trying
yeah,
to find the best pair of front tires to use as rear tires in one of the stints on the Sunday to turn it into a 4 stint race because the tire fade was so noticeable and so prevalent around that lap 15, halfway through the stint. Their rear tires were starting to fade off. So they had no choice. They weren't going to be able to fight off. Like
yeah.
some guys came in at lap 19, lap 20. It's like, well, there's the end of you. You're done. Unless you're on a 3-stopper, you're not going to stretch any rubber when you can't make 30 laps out of one set of tires.
No, not that long. So
Nah, you're
evident
cooked.
that these aero changes haven't done what they were
Nah,
desired to do,
nope.
and the
Made no difference
Mustangs are
whatsoever.
still struggling, still having issues there. More needs to be done. So
Yeah, they're doing that now. They'll do some more
unfortunately,
testing.
yeah. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but we're still going to be talking about the dirty P word for a little bit longer until they can sort it out.
Yeah.
But,
So another dirty P word. There was a few penalties thrown around the lane over the
yeah,
weekend. Triple Eight tried to get us a penalty. Now we got this tit for tat. We're running to mum and dad and dobbing between Erebus and Triple Eight. So they ran to the stewards complaining that Brody was crowding Brock on lap 71. Turn 13. They're going, oh, Brody's crowding Brock. We need a penalty for Erebus. And they looked at it. Better goes, yeah, nah. There's nothing going on there, mate. Fuck off.
not going to happen.
That went nowhere. But Premier did cop a 10K fine with half of that suspended for throwing Slatey out into the front of Jack LeBrock when he was coming into pit. That got a bit exciting.
Yeah, well, that was a bit of a silly move and probably worthy of the 10K fine, I'd say. So
Well, if they
yeah,
don't do it again, they've only got to pay 5.
yeah, and that's fair enough. I get that. So give him a
Well, Jack was flying in through the box.
yeah,
All of a sudden, there's a
and
car there in the lane, and right in his way, we're getting pushed out by the team. It's like, whoa, got to hang it right.
way
So you got people
yeah,
there on the inside, you got the car on the outside, and Jack coming through the middle.
yeah. So no, dangerous, deserving of a fine, and don't do it again. And 10K might not seem like a lot, but that's a lot of beers if you have a good weekend and want to celebrate. So
Well, yeah, and it's lucky that it all worked out, but it could turn into people bowling And we don't want
Well,
people
that's
dying.
right too, and that's the last thing we want to see. We love seeing crashes, we love seeing action, but we don't want to see anyone getting hurt ever. So
Nah.
that's the main thing is the safety. Make sure if things do go a little bit wrong, that they go wrong and are exciting, but people are safe. Keep them all safe. Nobody gets hurt. That's what we want.
Yeah, cool. All right, so that's it for the races. Boys raced, people won stuff. The weather was perfect. Mustangs are still hurting engineering wise. It's not their fault. They've just got the package that they've got. They haven't got it competitive yet. They're trying. They're doing parity testing again this week. DJR's back out there. They've got a bunch of other drivers going to chuck in the car as well, not just their guys. They're letting some of the other Mustang drivers jump in as well to compare, I suppose, driving styles and techniques with the changes that are being trialed for this
Yeah,
week
let's
up
see how
in
that goes.
Queensland. They're doing another aero tweak, and they're also
Yeah,
doing an engine mod, and they're using this smaller throttle body assembly, which they had at Winton, but I don't think they had enough time to fully get it signed off before Townsville, or they didn't have enough
well,
time to do full testing with it or whatever. But they did have it at Winton, and now they're putting it in up at um uh this week's testing.
yeah. So, what have they got there? Where are we? So we got. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's only a couple of weeks till the next round there. Now, wow, that's a
Yeah,
surprise. Only
28th.
2 weeks till the next round. There you go.
Yep,
Look at that.
28th.
I was expecting another month, but there you go. We got 2 weeks between rounds. Woohoo! There we go.
You won't know what to
Good
do with
stuff.
this rapid fire racing, mate.
Oh, I'm going to be just lost. Too much.
You're gonna be
Too much
run
for
off
me in
your
too
feet.
short a time. Jesus
Run off
Christ,
your feet.
just too much.
It's only 3 weeks
But
between rounds this time.
that's it. Loving that. That's much nicer. And yeah, so what about the news? Based on your posting on socials over the weekend,
Oh,
there
didn't
seems to be
that
a
create a
little
problem?
little bit going on.
Didn't that create a stir? Holy hell. I cannot.
Didn't it?
If you ever want to find out where the armchair warriors live, just post something on the friggin' internet. And every man and his dog, he knows everything way better because he saw an interview on the TV with a journalist from a team owner who was going to tell the journalist the truth 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
said, whereas all the people that I'm talking with who are physically involved with the teams and each other up and down the lane,
yeah.
it's been a closed conversation that hasn't been leaked out. And not to mention, I did talk to this with two actual journalists, and we were playing I Know a Secret. And he said, I know a secret. And I said, what do you know? He goes, well, what do you know? I said, well, I know this. And he goes, well, I've heard that. And then I said, well, I heard even better than that. And he said, what you've heard is exactly the better than that I've heard. And I've actually got a little bit more to tell you as well. And I went, really? So what I posted up there is all the things that I've been told from people who were told directly with their own faces, who are involved in the teams, involved in the conversations. So
So
basically
go
the surprise
through
to
it.
me, sorry?
Yeah, I was just going to say we'll go through it. We won't go too into detail about all the points, but yeah, we'll go through them all again. May as well. So
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. For the ones
and
that have been living
what's
under a
what's been
rock,
heard. So
so SVG,
yeah,
we all know, is out of here. He's hanging to go to the States. I was told that
yeah.
a deal had been done, but as today we go to air, the seem to have stepped away from that and saying that the deal hasn't been done, but it's about to be done. Like there's a couple of hard offers that he's looking at the moment, but I was told that those offers were had already been made, and he will be accepting one of those offers. The dollar value that I was given might be a little bit off because I looked at that too and I said, nah, that can't be right. Like 16 million bucks. There's no way he's getting paid that. Like he's had one race on
That's
the
a
road course. And there's no
that's a
way
lot.
and they're going, yeah, yeah. I said, is that US or Oz? He goes, US. I said, there's no way he's getting 16 mil. But
Not
anyway, I'll put it out
the
there
the,
anyway.
the top paid NASCAR driver at the moment's on under 16 US. So
Nah,
might be
16.9.
Might be, well, there you go. But that's still, you're not going to be given. I think that's everyone else is under that. So I don't think
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
one race driver is going to be given maybe 16 million Australian, which is about 10 mil US. That possibly.
yeah. And it could be over a
But
multiple year deal.
yeah.
It could be over
So
2 or 3 years.
well, that's it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I think he's definitely gone next year. So there's
Yeah. So the
nothing
money, the
there.
money doesn't matter. The fact is, he's off. He's off. He wants to go
Yeah.
play with the NASCAR guys, and he will be earning probably 6 to 8 times what he's getting paid at Triple Eight right now, which apparently is
100%.
around the 650 plus.
So
That's
this
all.
yeah, exactly. Now the next one, you've heard from me, but I'll believe this when I see it, is Waters to NASCAR.
Well, that's the
So
one that caught me by surprise
yeah, I don't,
because
I don't I
everybody
don't
was
know about
assuming,
that one.
well, what I've been told is he cannot wait to get out of Tickford fast enough. And even to
Yeah.
the
Well,
point where if he
I
gets
know
a
he's not
deal
happy at
signed,
Tickford, but
he's actively looking to get out of Tickford. We
yeah,
all know that, right? So it was WAU. He's going to go put the Bash
yeah,
boys together and get a job with WAU if they bounce Percat out based on his results this
yeah.
year. Shuffle Percat out and put Waters in, or Triple Eight when Shane goes, we'll need a cam because they want to put in a senior driver to mentor Brock. They're not
That's
interested in putting Richie Stanaway in.
that's that's my thought. My thought is that Cam goes to Triple Eight.
That would
Like
be if
that's
he stays.
yeah, ever since there was the rumors of Shane going to NASCAR next year, my first thought was Cam's going to Triple Eight, and I just can't shake that.
Yeah, that's fine. That we'll wait and find out. But I've been told
Yeah,
that's always an option, right? And also
yeah,
extending his deal at Tickford's an option. Staying where he is.
yeah,
He can stay at Tickford if he wants to. No dramas at all. No one's kicking him
yeah.
out.
Oh no, not a
Tim
chance.
wants him to stay. Tim's running around saying, no, we've got a contract. He's staying. Cam's going, I hate this joint. This car's a bucket of crap. I'm out.
Yeah, get me out of here. Yeah,
And you know who he's talking to?
yeah.
America.
Who?
He's
Yeah,
not talking to Jamie. He's not
no.
talking to Bruce and going, what have you got for me? He's talking to America right now.
Well, he wants to race more. That's the thing with everyone. They all want to
No, he
race
wants
more.
to
So
race NASCAR. He wants to
yeah,
get out. And I'm telling you right now, if he gets a deal with a team in NASCAR, he might
he'll
not even
take it.
see the year out. He will just turn on his heels, get on a plane, and bugger off
Yeah,
before even finishing the year.
go on.
He's
Well,
that
we'll see
keen.
how that one plays out. Yeah.
Yep,
So let's see
he's
how
that
that one
keen.
goes.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Scotty Pye to retire. Well, there's always rumors about people retiring, but that one, I don't know why people were talking about that, but apparently they are. That he's probably going to pull the pin at the end of the year. Whether that happens or not, 6 or 1/2 dozen.
Yeah.
It's just
See
one
how
of
that
those things.
goes.
Welcome to pit lane chat up and
Yeah.
down the lane.
The
Percat,
next, yeah, that one's got some traction. That one, and I can't see him staying. Percat, that is.
unless he has a massive run
Yeah.
from now and starts getting some big results,
Yeah.
but he's
No.
inconsistently very good. I mean, he's not a bad driver. He's just
No.
inconsistently very good. And when he is very
Yeah.
good, he gets a couple of results, like he doesn't seem to be able to back him up.
No. Exactly. So I can't see WAU keeping him on past the end of this year if he doesn't get some results. So I
Which is
honestly
why they
think
were talking
he's
to Cam Waters.
yeah. So I think he's out next year. Even if they don't get Cam Waters, I think they'll look for someone else to give a go in that car. So do we see Percat in supercars still? I don't know. I don't know where he's going to end up, but if we don't, he make a bloody good co-driver because he's got the skills at Bathurst. Somehow he seems to always like that track. So he'll
Yeah,
make a
he's had
great
success
co-driver
there
if he doesn't get a
before.
full-time ride.
He's had
Yeah.
a win. He knows how to drive Bathurst. I mean, he's not a bad driver. It's just the
No.
difference between his best and his sort of worst in inverted commas
Yeah.
is quite wide. Like the ceiling and the floor, there's a lot of gap between the ceiling and
Yeah.
the floor. Whereas you look at the
Exactly.
other drivers of the ilk like Shane and Cam and Chaz, the difference between the ceiling and the floor is pretty short. There's
Yeah.
not a great deal of take
It's not a
mechanicals out of it
not
because
a
mechanicals
not
aren't up to them. But as far as driving and results, if they have a car that finishes,
It's not the not the Art Deco style building. It's more of a New York style loft in terms of the floor to roof ratio there. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, let me pose you this then. Okay, let's pose you this scenario based on the silly season that's about to come up, because silly season might turn into stupid season. Because there's about 14 different possibilities of things happening at the moment. They all rely upon other things to make other things happen. Triple Eight are not interested in bringing in another junior driver to partner Brock Feeney. They want a senior driver, an experienced driver to mentor Brock Feeney. So let's have a look and see who's available. Let's play the what ifs. A, Cam Waters was their first pick. Now, they do have someone in mind, but I couldn't find out. I was trying to find out and needle, but I couldn't find out. They do already have somebody in mind. So let's go through who you reckon might be available. Cam Waters would be the obvious number one.
Yeah.
Senior driver. He's 28 years old. Brock's, I think, 20. Not that Brock needs a great deal of mentoring, I would have thought, but he's still young, so they still want a mentor. I want an age gap between them. So Waters would be the pick. If Waters is not available and he's off to the States, bang, here we go again. Who do you think would fit that mold of a senior driver that would fit in to the Triple Eight ethos?
I just can't think of anyone that's on the grid that's going to be available to go over there. So
if they want to leave a Chaz, okay, here's my thoughts. Here's my wish list if there was one. And taking in that we've been told that Richie Stanaway will not be the driver. He will not be taking Shane's seat. So here's my choices. Cam Waters would be first pick. Chaz Mostert would be second pick.
Yeah.
Will Davison from DJR would be third pick.
Yeah, he's still got a couple of years in him. Yeah.
Will Davison would be third pick. And
he is contracted though to DJR still. So I think he's got a contract for next year.
Year by year.
All right.
12-month contract. Guess who's available?
Yeah,
Guess who's best mates with Jamie Whincup, and they have coffees all the time. Guess who would be a perfect mentor for a young bloke who's driving the wheels off his car at the moment and is out driving his teammate.
That
Will
is
Davison
interesting. Yeah.
would be a very easy move to fit in with the Triple Eight ethos, the model.
100%.
Chaz would be another one, but they would have to make a sweet deal to pry him away from Walkinshaw at the moment.
100%.
I don't know if he'd even be able to break the contract. So that might not be a possibility, but I don't know if it's got clauses in there for performance or whatever. But the other driver in the lane that might be Triple Eight ready, like it's all about driving for Triple Eight, would be Mark Winterbottom, Frosty. But he's too loyal to Charlie. He's not leaving Charlie.
No, I don't see him leaving Charlie. And once again, I don't think he doesn't have enough. Well, I guess he's still got a couple of years left in him.
That's all they'll be looking for. Brock will be 22 years old, get a couple of years.
Leaving.
Brock won't be needing a great deal. He won't be needing. I don't think the kid needs a great deal of mentoring now. He knows how to drive. He knows how to win races.
He's a race winner. He's a multiple race winner.
Yeah, he knows what lines to pull.
Championship.
And as far as going through the data, that's what the engineers are for. But they still want someone senior there to partner him at the moment in his career. So they're the four. They're the four that I see that would be the most viable. The rest of the guys,
Craig Lowndes comes out of retirement and fills the spot.
Baby Reynolds isn't jumping over there to Triple Eight. That's not happening. Percat, not happening.
No.
Pie, not happening.
No.
I don't think they're on the Triple Eight books. You know what I mean? The radar. Whether they go and find someone from another category, like Ryan Wood from Porsches, who's winning in Porsches. Whether they look outside of supercars, they're not looking to bring another kid up because they want the senior driver, an experienced driver. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be trying to steal like Matt Payne or Brady Kostecki or Will Brown because they're not senior enough. They're the same age as Brock. That's what they're trying not to do. That's what I've been told anyway. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's all the stuff I learned in the back of pit lane through conversations with people who know a lot more people than I do, and get told a lot more stuff than I do. And then we talk about it. And when you're sort
Mm.
of on the money, you kind of end up playing warmer colder with with people in the back of the lane. And so that's an interesting
Yeah.
start to
Well,
the silly season, because I mean, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we hasn't even hit the radar yet.
exactly. So look, we're only halfway through the year still, so we'll see how that plays out come closer towards Bathurst, which is normally when all this hits the fan. So we'll see how that goes, and keep your ears peeled for more news here.
Yeah, well, the other dumb thing is supercars are still trying to buy back two TRCs to make the grid 24 cars. That's conversations popped its head back up again, because Tickford have said, yeah, we review our business every year and we're interested in
Reduce the
entertaining the
amount of cars
idea
instead of
of
it's,
shipping back to a two-car team.
it's just fucking stupid is what it is. So, but yeah, so
Well, there's only
we'll
two
have
ways. There's only two ways. Well, there's three ways. There's only three ways supercars can get two TRCs back. There's
yeah
only three legit. One team just quits.
disappears. Yeah,
One whole team just goes, with two cars, we're out. We'll take the $1 million and we're just going to shoot off. We'll get the $2
yeah.
million because I think it's $1 million a TRC.
When they offering 6 million, I thought they were offering 6 million,
Nah,
3 million for a car.
yeah, I think
No,
somebody got excited like I did with my $16
that
million.
was poppycock.
I
Yeah,
don't think, well, supercars are broke. They don't have $6 million to hand over.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it looks like it's more
Thought it sounded like
the
a lot of money.
yeah. Well, if it was 6 million, there's probably people out there that would throw it away and just go, yeah, I'm going to go race like Super Twos or Trans Ams or something and just get out of supercars, and I'll take my $6 million with me.
Yeah,
Like I'll have a lot more fun with a lot less stress, in a Trans Am for
yeah,
5 years than I will
exactly.
for 1 year worth of supercars. Um, so unless a team bails out, that's one way
So
they can get two back. The other two ways is for Tickford to hand back two and go back to a two-car team, which
yeah,
Edwards is
has been.
considering the viability or the possibility or the need or the want at the moment.
Yeah,
Whether he decides to or not, we'll all find out later in the year. Whether he does decide to throw back two, which will throw two-car drivers out of a job and two sets of mechanics out of a job. And if Waters shoots off
yeah,
to the States, well, they've got one spot for three drivers. If JC then has to retire, oh yeah, JC was part of the other conversation for Triple Eight, but I don't think they want him. He's too close to the end of his retirement. So,
yeah,
so JC, if they lose a
yeah,
ride, will probably go. Randall will probably stay because he's the future of their team
yeah. Without
at the
Cam, he's
moment.
the number one, and Cam and Courtney anyway. Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, that's an interesting little thing there. And the other way that they could get back to TRCs is if Brad Jones Racing goes to a two-car team.
yeah.
Because Brad only owns two of those four licenses.
He does.
Jack Smith's old man owns one of them, and Jason Richards, rest in peace, his estate owns the other one. The Richards family.
Yeah.
They could be,
So
if Jack's old man goes, yeah, it's time. You've had your go. You've had your fun. You're going to
yeah,
come and work for me now. So
he's well, he's never going to be up the front. So yeah,
not unless you do a reverse top 30, or a reverse top 24 grid.
yeah. He'd be smashing it.
So
But
that's the other way
yeah,
they could. That's the other way they could get it back. That's the other
we'll
way.
see. We'll see how it goes though. But look, I just can't believe they're entertaining the notion still that they want to take cars off the track and put them on. So it's just friggin' ridiculous. And
Yeah, well, they're still thinking about trying to work out if they can go overseas and be a
yeah,
lapdog to
well,
Formula One, which we all know
they can
that's
get stuffed.
a
So
fool's errand. They can bugger off.
get your shit together in Australia first. Give us what we want here, and then you can go overseas. But let's not talk about that because it just pisses me off.
All right. Well then that's kind of the wrap for supercars. Let's move on. That's what happened. There's a bit of gossip around pit lane, always is. It's making more noise. There's more smokes than there are fires at the moment. Mustangs are still trying to fix their car. Supercars are trying to fix the Mustang car. Sorry, the resilience of the cars is ordinary compared to the NASCAR race that the entire country of sporting fans who wanted to watched it and
Yeah.
saw NASCARs plowing through tire walls, hand over fist, backing out and going again. Just
They're hitting the wall at 100 k's an hour, reversing it out and driving off without it. Like some of them didn't even pit; they just backed the car
yeah,
out
I
of the
know.
wall after hitting it at 100 k's an hour and drove off. So
Yeah, and Kyle Busch has got tires on the windscreen. Like he's gone 3 tires
yeah,
deep on that 6 tire corner at turn 5, and he's getting towed out. And actually, they've really got to work on their. I thought they might have had the Tasmanians in there for the recovery vehicles because it took about 20
a
minutes
little
just to
bit
put a
slow.
tow hook on the back of the car and drag him back. It's like,
Yeah,
dude,
a little bit slow.
who are you talking to? Just put the rope on the hook that says tow here and hit reverse. It
Yeah,
just needs a bit of a help. Just jag him out and then get out of the way. Let him go. So those cars are pretty resilient. But you look at our cars at the moment, and we've got steering racks failing again, transaxles
yeah.
failing.
So yeah, they got lot to do there because NASCAR's they're not the same by any stretch of the means, but they're the two most
Yeah, but they're
similar in
closer to
terms
our
of
last
world
year's car.
categories, NASCAR and supercars. So yeah, and they're just NASCAR's got their reliability and durability much more down than supercars has at the moment, and the cars are they've only had those cars for a year now, and those cars were just as sturdy last year. So
Yeah, and they've stopped putting them all on fire too. They had their fair
yeah,
share of fires,
they
but that
have.
was
Yeah,
pickup.
they have.
That was pickup. That was rubber picking up off the
Yeah,
road, getting onto the headers, not like the stuff that we had with the vapors.
yeah.
So now they don't burn their cars anymore, and they can crash them and keep racing them. Now we've stopped burning our cars, I think, but we can't tap it. We can't even tap
Yeah.
a wall and have permanent damage that will ruin your weekend. Look at
Yeah,
Chaz on
you go
quali.
in at 60 and your weekend's done just about.
Well, you look
Yeah,
at Chaz on quali
that's
coming around the
done.
turn, taps
Well,
a kink on the wall,
exactly.
and then goes, "Oh, yeah, that's shit." Normally, you just go and change your steering arm,
Yeah,
and then the next day in the race, bang, steering rack gone.
yeah. He's
You know,
gone. Yeah,
they
gone.
can't,
It's
they can't,
ridiculous.
and that's not the only one that has steering
But
rack issues.
they'll fix it up.
Well, Shane's got steering rack issues at Triple A.
No,
Everyone's got steering rack
exactly.
issues.
And that's going to become a big issue, big issue come enduro time when there's 300 points for a race. If a car can't start that race, and especially one of the cars that's up front battling for the championship, if they have a minor little bingle like that at one of the enduros and their weekend's done in qualifying or practice, that's going to piss off a lot of people. So they really do need to work on it. But I don't think they're going to get it fixed by then.
The
Either. We're
top
only
7
2 months out
drivers
for
in the
enduros. So
well, we'll have a read of this. You're talking about losing a 300 point race, whether it's
yeah,
Sandown or Bathurst. The top
yeah,
7 drivers
yeah,
currently after race 18 out of 28. So we're 2/3 of the way through the races at the moment on the calendar.
yeah,
We're halfway through the rounds, but we're 2/3 of the way through the racing.
yeah.
The top 7 drivers, 300 points separating them.
Wow. All right, that's huge. Yeah,
Cam is 309 points behind Brownie. Andre's 250, Mozzie's 243, the Gears is 72, Brock is 26, and Brody is
yeah,
7. So
yeah. I knew Brock was
300
close.
points
Yeah,
in the top 7. That's one enduro worth.
yeah,
Anybody up the top there that those say the tops, anyone in the top 6 has a failure in the enduro, and
yeah.
Waters doesn't. Waters will end up in front of
Wow,
everybody if
that's
it just goes in the natural order of things.
that's a bit crazy.
Oh, that's going to drop down behind him kind of thing. No, he won't take to the front because you'd have to have all of those guys have a DNF for him to
Yeah, or
get up
6
there.
cars. That's highly unlikely. Not impossible, but improbable.
Well, there's only 2 Mustangs in that conversation there,
Yeah, Sheldon
Mostert
Waters. Yeah,
and Waters.
yeah.
So
So that's all right. We
everybody
don't
else
want to
is
see
tomorrow.
We don't want to see a Mustang win the championship.
Cool. All right. Well, speaking of stuff that
But all right. Well, let's
was cool. F1.
yeah. I was going to say, let's forget about supercars for now and move on to the F1, the rise of McLaren. So if you're an F1 fan as well like us, and you watched the Silverstone race on the weekend, you would have noticed that the lowly little McLarens that have been battling for the scraps of the points for the first 10 races or so this season were now battling for the, wait, let's not say race victory because Max is just too bloody good, but they were the next best of the cars. So second and third in qualifying, Lando P2 and young Oscar Piastri P3, which was awesome to say the least. So congratulations to both of them, but especially young Oscar, a rookie nabbing P3 in his first year in the sport, and not just getting P3 in qualifying, but then making hay in the race and being incredibly unlucky to not get himself a podium. It was a safety car that cost him. So he would have been P3. Lewis unfortunately did get it, but good for the Poms, getting 2 Poms on the podium, but very unfortunate for young Oscar. And not many rookies can say they'd be unhappy or disappointed, not unhappy, but disappointed with a P4 in their rookie year. So that's just, kudos, top notch.
Yeah, exactly. So
Did you watch it at all?
when I was out at like
Oh,
partying
that's
in
right.
Townsville, mate.
You were busy. Yeah, that's
I wasn't
right.
sitting
So
on my phone trying to watch somebody else's race, and I was too busy partying with people who were going racing. So
yeah, true that. So no, well, I was glued to the screen the whole weekend. So
it's
and
amazing
look,
what a mid-season aero update does.
oh, 100%. Like that car was just an absolute rocket ship. So, and one more thing I do want to say about Oscar is that not just like that race that he ran was flawless. Like he did not put a foot wrong. He was just absolutely flawless that entire race. And that's why I say it's unlucky and disappointing that he didn't get the podium, because that race of his, he was just, you wouldn't have thought he was a rookie. That race was perfect for him. He wasn't going to get any better. Lando and Max were a little bit further up, although he was sticking with Lando as well. So, you know, big credit to him. And if McLaren's upgrades can keep coming and keep getting better, then I reckon he's going to get himself some trophies before the end of this season.
We'll just wait for everybody else to put their updates on their cars as well, and we'll see if McLaren are just the first ones out of the box with their brand new widget. Because when everybody
Yeah,
else
well,
gets their widgets on, then we'll see if they can hold their positions.
that's true, but most of the other teams have been putting upgrades and pretty substantial ones on the car as well. So it seems like McLaren really have actually jumped the queue at the moment. But you never know. Formula One's ever changing, so we'll see how that goes. But it seems like they're definitely up there.
Cool.
But that wasn't the most exciting news in Formula One over the last few days, though. So the big news is we've got 2 Aussies back on the grid from Hungary. So that was amazing. Danny Rick's back on the grid, baby. The honey badger is back.
This was always going to be the case when he was dialed in to do 3 days of testing after the Silverstone race in the car, not on the sim. It was already booked in to see how he would go, and then the possibility of putting him back in,
Yeah.
whether it was with AlphaTauri or whether it was just a stepping stone into back in the main seat when they kicked Perez out. As soon as he did his little test, they went, "Yeah, you're good." Sorry, Varese. Sorry, mate, you're out.
Well,
Danny, you're back.
I don't know if you heard, but the fastest lap that he done during that test was actually good enough to put him on the front row for the race.
That's why he's back in.
So yeah, 100%. So when he's putting that car, making that car faster than Perez when he's in it,
Yeah,
there's 100%. That was what sealed De Vries' fate. His fate was, I think, he was already done, but that was 100%. That was done and dusted. De Vries was out, Ricardo in,
yep.
and if he performs decently in that car and Checo keeps struggling, then I would not be surprised to see him in a Red Bull next year, if not
And here
sooner.
we go. we're back to the future again. So
Yeah,
he's now going to be fighting with Max again, which is what he didn't want to do because he didn't want to be a number two driver again at Red Bull again, and have to deal with Horner again. And that's why he went where he went the first time. He's walked around the block. He's come back and gone, actually, it was pretty
yeah,
good back here. I don't mind being a number
yeah,
two driver. I'll take my $48 million a year, and I'll be
exactly.
quite happy because you're paying me 16 million not
Yeah,
to race at the
and
moment or something. So he's going to end
exactly,
up.
yeah. And look, to be honest, with Red Bull being Red Bull, if he performs and Checo doesn't, they've swapped drivers teams between the two teams mid-season before. Like that's
Yeah,
how Max got his start and won at Spain a few years back. So, I would not be surprised if Checo keeps underperforming and Ricardo actually does good in that AlphaTauri, if he ends up in that Red Bull sooner rather than later.
they could swap him. Yeah, they could certainly
Yeah,
swap them unless they want to get somebody else altogether. But for the remainder, if it's a mid-season swap, more likely it's a mid-season swap rather than a
yeah,
new driver coming in from F2.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. So yeah, that's great news for all Aussie Formula One fans. That's for sure. Love
so
seeing the honey
eyes
badger back.
forward. So when's Hungary? Couple weeks,
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yep, cool. So we can all tune in
Yeah.
and
So yeah, not this weekend, next weekend. Yeah.
now we can barrack for both of them.
Yeah, we can. So that should be good. Looking forward to it.
And I reckon Ricky might have something to do, a point to prove with Oscar taking his ride. So
Oh, 100%, 100% he does. 100% he does.
I mean, it
So
wasn't Oscar's fault. No one's banging out. No one's hurting on Oscar for getting
no, no, not at all.
shot. I mean, you
You
get offered a shot, you take the shot.
you got to do what you got to do when it comes to getting a seat in Formula One. So
Yeah. You don't go, oh, but Danny's there. I don't know. I might wait till
yeah,
Danny decides not to drive anymore. Can I come back next year? Like, no, sorry,
no,
mate.
take it.
It's razor sharp in F1.
That's it. So and that's pretty much it for Formula One. We don't really care too much about the rest of it. Max is winning. That's about it.
Yeah,
So
standard
what
form.
else? Yeah, we're getting towards the end. We probably just before we do our last little our new segment that we've got. I think we'll save that till the
Yeah,
end.
save
But
that to the end. Yeah. Yeah.
let's just cap on Formula V down at Phillip Island
Yeah, let's
because
pump the tires up of our Aquaman, RVG, we used to call
we got
him.
to
Reef
we got
Van
to
Gisbergen.
big up our Reefy McCarthy, clean
Reef
sweep
McCarthy.
in the weekend. So absolutely dominated the weekend in the in the wet conditions down at Phillip Island. So what do you get? Race one, wet track, no rain, 5-second race win. Oh, impressive. That's nice.
Yep.
Race two, dry track, could only manage 4 seconds that time in the win. So,
Yeah, he couldn't shake the gap. They was trying
yeah,
to shake him off behind, but they just kept coming. He just had to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And that one still managed to hold him behind. The other two guys
yeah,
finished like wheel to wheel, second and
yeah.
third. They were legit like like
So,
half a second apart, 0.3 of a second, a half of each other or something.
exactly. That's it. But it was race three that he really shone in the properly wet track. He's a fish. That's all I can say.
He's Aquaman. He loves the wet. He absolutely loves the wet. And another person out there who loves the wet also is Charlie Richardson. The wetter the better.
Yeah,
She loves driving. She'll just make heaps of gains in the wet. But Reefy, as I'm in the formation lap, like in the the formation grid, that's when the heavens opened and Phillip Island just turned it on. It pissed down, absolutely belted down. And he took off and everybody else took off and then didn't take off and then slid off and then got back on and then couldn't see in the spray and then we're sliding and then we're off and then we're back on. Meanwhile, Reef's just gone, I'm out. I'll see ya.
see you
I'll see
later.
you later. 47 seconds. 47.
47-second victory. That's I did actually ask him on Facey yesterday if that was a record. He's not sure, but I think someone needs to look that up because that's got to be close to a record for Formula V, doesn't it? Like those cars are not designed to have that sort of margin of victory. Like they're designed for slipstreaming and close quarters racing. So that's got to be close to a record, if not blitzed, I reckon.
100%. Like I rang him on
Yeah.
Sunday when I was coming home, when he was coming home from the track, gave him a quick phone call, caught him in the car so he could have a chat. And then he filled me in on like the conditions and all this and that, because I
Yeah.
didn't get to see any of the racing this weekend on Blendline. Unfortunately, I was preoccupied. And I went 47 seconds. I said, you wouldn't have even seen him in your mirrors. He goes, nah. First couple of laps,
No.
yeah. After that, I didn't see anybody. Like there was no one behind me. I said, but what did they do? Did they all just crash? Was there like a big pile up and someone took someone out, and then there was like a whole bunch of congestion, and everyone had to wrangle around, and that was how you he goes, I don't know. I just didn't see him. Some dude slid off, but they got back on, and then they just raced. And I just had the track to myself, and I just kept going, just kept hitting my line, hitting my mark, and just going and going
Just
and
doing
going
his
in the wet.
thing.
He just loves the wet. He can
Yeah.
drive loose. This is why we need to get him back into a Super 2 car.
Yeah.
His talent
Yeah.
is
100%.
he's making a mockery of the sport by dominating so clearly.
Well, that's what they say, they
He's a
they
big fish
say
in a small pond.
you can really, yeah, and you get a proper understanding of just how talented a driver is when they're driving in the wet, because it levels the playing field. But it doesn't for him. He's gone. So he's got way too much skill to be racing in these state run categories. Even though don't get me wrong, there's nothing against state racing. State racing's bloody fantastic, but he's got too much skill for it. He needs to step up.
Yeah, we need to find him some money. It's as simple
Yeah,
as that.
yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, because he's not even doing Formula Ford. I mean, they're
No.
120 horsepower or something, and these
Yeah,
Formula V's are only 60 horsepower. I think it's like
yeah,
110 horsepower or something in the Formula Fords. Still a 1600cc motor. They just tune them up.
yeah.
And then we need to get him something with a lid. It's all fine and good
Yep.
being a dominant
Get it.
Formula V driver in Victoria and going off to nationals in September and kicking butt in nationals. And that's fine, but it's a development class. So
Yeah.
we need to get
He's
him some
past development
budget.
now. He needs some money.
Need some money,
If you got some
people.
money and
If you got some money,
it's
give it
look.
all your
I know
money.
tax time's just ended, but
Give all
you're
your
saving
money.
up and you're trying to figure out where you want to spend your budget this year. Give Scott McCarthy a call and say, I'm going to give all my spare money to Reef to sponsor
All
his
your
car
money.
for a tilt at some tin top racing.
Yeah,
Get it out there for him.
we need to
Yeah,
get him into Super Twos, and that's about $650,000 a year to do Super
yeah. It's
Twos.
not cheap. Not cheap.
This is the thing about supercars being so bloody minded about the super license, because apparently you can just change the rules when you want to,
Yeah,
and which they just did this week for the wild cards to let two guys have a wild card drive. They literally just changed the rules to suit themselves, to bend, to make their own parameters, no longer require them to do
yeah,
6 Super 2s races if you finish in the top 3 or you win your category. If you're a Porsche driver or you're a Super 2s driver, you don't have to have
yeah.
done 6 Super 2s rounds if you finish in the top 3
It's,
of your previous
it's
category for
ridiculous.
Super 3s. So that's allowed Aaron
Ridiculous.
Love from Porsches and Kai Allen, who won his first Super 2s race up in Townsville for Eggleston, who's a cool dude. Met his parents too. They are awesome. Jason and Nicola. They are cool as the Kai Allen's parents.
Nice.
But
Mm,
supercars just literally just changed the rules. Joey Mawson still hasn't got a ticket,
get him one. Get him
but
one.
they let Blanchard Racing and DJR run a wild card, and now for their personal eligibility criteria, they have now changed their rules for their super license, so these kids can have a go in a wild
Why
card.
isn't Why isn't that in this next segment there, Dave? We should have had that in there.
Because I didn't think of it till just now.
Oh, that's right.
As we were talking about Reef getting into Super 2s.
Well, we'll
And
just
how much
pop it in
money it
there now.
costs, 650K plus, up to $1 million to run a car in Super 2s. Don't get me
Let's just
started on.
pop
Don't
it
get
in
me
there.
started on that. I'll go for another hour. We've got to wrap this up. All right,
Exactly.
so
And we can't. We got 15
we got
minutes. So
Origin to
let's do
go. We got Origin to
We
go.
do.
Better go watch State
We
of
do.
Origin. We've got to get out of here.
Let's
So
do it. All right.
this is
So,
a new segment. We're going to try it out. It's really rapid fire, fast, hard, no conversations as such. We're just going to go through it. rapid fire. You're allowed to have 10 words or less, but it's called win it or bin it. So basically, the topics of the day, do we like it or not like it? So we either win it or we bin it. I will start off. Supercars drivers going to NASCAR. Win it or bin it?
Win it. I think why not? If they want to go over there because they're not getting the racing over here, go for it. Win it.
Cool. Me too. Win it. I like it. Puts more focus on our sport from America. That's where all the money is. NASCAR to have a round in Australia, possibly maybe racing one round in Bathurst, Gold Coast, or Phillip Island. What do you think? Win it or bin it?
Win it for sure. Love NASCAR. Would love to see him over here. Bathurst would be ideal, but I'd also love to see him on a street circuit.
Cool. Me too. Like we used to have Indy on the Gold Coast back in the day. Next year's calendar has been loosely released, a speculative calendar, not signed off by any stretch yet by Supercars, but this is the best guess based on this year's calendar. 13 rounds. It's identical to this year's calendar, except New Zealand is back in April. There's no Winton, no QR, no Singapore as yet. Win it or bin it?
Bin it. The only positive is having New Zealand back. That's it.
Yep, we need more calendar. We need more racing. We need more tracks. Next one, the raceability and the constant parity tweaks. We're 18 races into a 28 race calendar, so we're 2/3 of the way through. Still tweaking the cars, trying to get them competitive. Win it or bin it?
Bin it. They had 3 years to build these cars. They were delayed and delayed and delayed, and they didn't get it right. Bin it.
Cool, me too. It's a poor start to the Gen 3 program. Okay, up in Townsville, old mate's $18 hamburger sent the internet into a spin. So the cost of going to the races all up, which is like your food, your tickets, your accommodation, your airfares, your merchandise, and anything else you got to do, feeding yourself when you're up there. So the cost of going racing, and Rowan, win it or bin it?
Bin it. It's far too expensive, especially opposed to other racing categories. They just need to do something about that. That's too much. Bin it.
Yeah, me too. You're not going to win more fans by charging more money for less product. Okay, Anton winning his first Ford race. Win it or bin it?
Win it because I'm happy for Anton, but bin it because it was only because of his tires. So both.
Yeah, okay. Because he had to fail on Saturday to win on Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
The new LED panels on the windscreens. We've had a few rounds with them now. So win it or bin it?
Win it. Love them. Think they're awesome. Keep them.
So track position, the actual track position on the front windscreen. I don't really get to see them much on the side of the circuit. It makes it a bit hard to whiz them past and catch them. But does it look good on the telly?
Looks great on TV. You can see it clearly. Awesome.
Right, so you can see the posies, especially when we're doing multiple pit stops, like everyone's out of sequence and you can still work out what's going on. Okay, fuel drops. 100-litre minimum fuel drops for this race. The tank's worth 130 litres. The only reason we had a fuel drop in the first place because the Nissans were so thirsty on fuel that we had to try to make it even for everybody on fuel pit stop times. But fuel drops, are they still necessary? Win it or bin it?
Bin it just because I think it'd make strategy better for each team. So, I think it'd spice things up a little bit if they did bin it rather than making it the same. So I'd say bin it.
There's no need. The burn rate on these cars now is the same. The Ultima is no longer a thing. That's the only reason we had a fuel drop for the Nissans, because otherwise they'd lose all their time in the pits fueling up more fuel than the other teams needed to put in. So we're going back to that, mate. It's a free for all.
Yep.
Bin it.
Get rid of it.
Bin the fuel drops. Bin them. Let the teams run their own fuel strategies. If you come up too short and you cup short, WinCup's done that a few times, sucked in.
Exactly. That's it.
And the super license as an actual thing, win it or bin it?
Well, look, they need to have it, but bin the bloody regulations. Just change them to make it easier for people in other categories to get there.
So who should have control over it first? Motorsport Australia be the be all and end all? Because they're the ones that issue it. Or should Supercars still have the right of veto over the top?
look, I'd say give it to Motorsport Australia because supercars are idiots sometimes. So
Okay, there we go. Bin it.
yeah.
Bin the extra regulations that supercars can impose over the top of their own category. All right. That is it. That's it, dude.
We're done. We made it.
We got some origin to do.
We
Queensland's going
do.
to smash you guys. We're going to smash you cane toads back under the fridge. Okay, so before we do that, just going to say thank you to Game Life for our sponsorship, gamelife.com.au. Thank you very much. Go and check him out again, Jason Sweeney, for all of your gaming and streaming needs. Coming up, racing, we have Supercars SMP on the 28th, 29th and 30th. That's the Sydney Super Night. So that's when they start blowing fireworks up at night time. Start in the dusk and finish in the evening.
Love it. Love the night racing.
So that's on the 28th and 30th of July, a couple of weeks' time. TCRs will be at Queensland Raceway on the 11th to the 13th of August. And with that awesome calendar of Trans Ams and S5000s and what else are going to zoom around up there? Sports sedans.
TCM, they got TCM up there?
Oh, I think so. I think maybe they might. I'll have to confirm that. But if you can't make it to Queensland Raceway on that weekend, 11 to 13 of August, head on down to Victoria to Sandown for the state racing. Formula Vees will be on down there with the state racing calendar. It's amazing racing. Go and catch up with Reef McCarthy. Bring your checkbook. Give him lots of money so he can go off and race in Super 2s. So Reef will be down there on the 12th and 13th of August. Go for another clean sweep. As far as some interviews coming up with Chat with a Hat, Dave Stillwell from Motorsport Australia, I'll be talking with him tomorrow night, which is Thursday. So he is a race controller, works for Motorsport Australia. You might remember his old man, guy called Bib Stillwell.
Bib Stillwell. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Might have run a few cars in his day.
Yeah.
Might have sold a few cars in his time in car sales.
Oh, just a couple, just a few, yeah.
That's his. I think Bib was his grandfather and his old man, Dave's old man, still running cars as well. So they're both in Motorsport Australia. So,
Beauty.
I'm having an interview with him on Thursday. Tomorrow night, going to ask all the questions you ever want to know about race control, how they integrate, what they do, what their roles, responsibilities on track day are, how they actually decide what decisions are made when they pull the triggers on safety cars and marshals, when they're releasing medicals and tow cars and all of that, as well as dishing out penalties and fines, how they actually administer the race. So there's a lot goes on in that big tower. They don't just sit there drinking coffee, deciding to ruin people's day. They are trying to make sure racing is safe and fast and clean, and everybody has the same opportunity on track. And when things go wrong, they're the guys that have to work out how to make it right and go back to the green flag again. So that's going to be a way cool conversation. Very excited. I caught up with him at the airport on the way out of Townsville. They're up there again, officiating up in Townsville. All the medicals, all my medical mates hanging out up there. Hey, Karen, good to catch up with her and Natalie. Not Nat Cirillo, there's another Nat. We've got two Nats now. Who knew? Nats. Charlotte Pointing from Aussie Cars. I'm trying to track her down for this week. Hopefully get a chat with her as well. She raced up in Townsville as well. So we've got 2 rounds to wrap up with Charlotte and how she started and where she's going. She's really enjoying her time and is making some good gains. So that's it. Wrapped up. Done.
We're done. Let's go watch some footy.
We're going to get beers and watch footy. So thanks for listening, guys. Check us out on Facebook and Spotify. Get in touch. Chat with the Hat. Listen to us on Spotify. And you can put that down. That's just poison. That's a tea towel. Looks like Origin scarf. Even your camera won't pick it up. It's all flaring out. Even the camera's given up on it. So check us out, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And we shall talk to you next week with an interview with Dave Stillwell, which will be absolutely fascinating. We're all going to get informed. Talk to you then, Ro.
Done.
Go Queensland.
See you later, guys.
Queenslander.
Go the Blues.
Queenslander.
Go the Blues.